All right, today we're going to dive into a totally new and fascinating way of understanding what's really going on inside your head when you dream. It's called the Brain Kinematics Model, and it treats our dreams not just as weird stories, but as a physical process, like nightly maintenance for your brain. Let's get into how it works.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. You wake up from one dream feeling amazing, totally refreshed. And then from another, you feel like you've just run a mental marathon. It's something we all experience. But what's actually the difference, mechanically, between a good dream and a bad one? Well, it turns out this new theory has a really compelling answer. And it comes from looking at the brain from a completely different angle. Not through psychology, but through the lens of physics. Okay, so here's the core idea. I want you to think of your brain's memory networks, what the model calls substrates, as a physical, elastic material. Yeah, really. Kind of like a piece of rubber that can be stretched and bent by all the pressures of your day. And that is exactly what dreaming is all about. It's the process of letting go of all that built-up tension, allowing the brain to snap right back into its balanced, stable shape, ready to take on the next day. So to really get this, we need to wrap our heads around two key ideas borrowed straight from physics: stress and strain. So on one side of the equation, you have stress. Just think of this as all the stuff your brain takes in while you're awake. That big project at work, the new language you're trying to learn, all the emotions you feel. Then, on the other side, you have strain. That's the physical bending and releasing that happens inside your brain in response to all that stress. Simple, right? Your day loads up the stress, and your night's job is to release the strain. Okay, and this is where it gets really cool. Because this model gives us a physical formula for what a dream actually feels like. It's called the emotional load. It's just the stress multiplied by the strain. And that physical process is what our mind interprets as the conflict, the tension, or the pure emotion of a dream. It's the physics behind the feeling. So if dreaming is just the brain letting go of all this strain, how does it actually happen? Well, as it turns out, there's more than one way to do it. The model suggests this whole release process happens along different pathways. Think of it like water flowing down a hill. Sometimes it takes a direct, straight shot, and other times it branches off into a dozen little streams. The path your brain takes is what determines the kind of dream you end up having. And this basically breaks down into three main types. First up, you have the straight pathway. This is a simple, linear release. It's why you sometimes have those dreams that just kind of replay parts of your day. Then you've got the branching pathway, which is way more complex. The strain breaks apart, mixes with other memories, and that's how you get those bizarre blended dreams. And the exploding pathway? Yeah, sounds intense, right? That's your brain letting go of a ton of intense strain all at once. It's the physical mechanism behind a nightmare.
And believe it or not, we can actually see the emotional arc of a dream just by looking at the trend of that emotional load we were just talking about. And this is where it all clicks into place. So if that emotional load, that feeling of conflict, is going down throughout the dream, that's your brain doing a successful cleanup job. You wake up feeling rested. But if it's increasing, the dream feels more creative, maybe even symbolic, but it's less restful. Your brain is working hard to forge new connections. And what if it's stable? Well, that's when you get those abstract, kind of neutral dreams that are just plain weird, but not emotionally heavy. But wait, this isn't just some abstract physics metaphor. This whole process is physically mapped onto the brain itself. Yeah, I mean, this isn't just a way of talking about it. This stuff is physically happening in specific identifiable parts of your brain. And as we're about to see, the exact location of the strain is what shapes the actual content of your dream. For example, think about it. Why are most dreams so visual? Well, it's because our visual cortex gets hammered with information all day, so it has the most strain to release at night. Ever have a dream where you're actively solving a problem, or you suddenly realize you're dreaming? That's probably an overstrain in your prefrontal cortex, which is home to your working memory. And nightmares? They often happen when there's this huge buildup of strain across multiple areas of the brain that are all resisting that release at the same time. All right, let's pull all these threads together. What's the big picture here? What is the point of all this nightly mechanical work? So the model basically says there are two modes of dreaming. The first is what they call strain response. This is when your brain is still wrestling with some heavy stress from your day. These dreams can be really creative, but because they're full of conflict, they don't feel very restful. But the goal, the real sweet spot, is strain resonance. That's when the whole release process is working in harmony with your existing memories, and you get those dreams that feel integrative, relaxing, and truly restorative. That's the difference between a good and a bad dream.
So at the end of the day, what this all tells us is that dreaming is anything but random. It's this essential mechanical tune-up. Every single night, your brain is physically working to rebalance itself, releasing the pressures from the day before to get you back to equilibrium.
I think this quote just nails it. Dreams are not just stories. They are the kinematics of your brain restoring its balance. They are the literal motion, the physics of a system resetting itself. And that leaves us with a pretty powerful question to chew on, doesn't it? If your dreams are literally a report card on your brain's rebalancing act, what stressors in your life are creating the most strain? What is your waking life putting out of balance?